Hi, my name is Val,
And I'm Star.
and welcome to Psych Talk.
Yes, welcome.
So, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Valerie?
Good.
Good.
So, this is our very first episode of Psych Talk,
Yes.
and we're gonna go ahead and introduce ourselves just a little bit to give some background. We both have bachelor's degrees in psychology. And Star, why don't you go ahead and give a little insight into what our podcast is going to be about?
Okay. So Valerie and I have had some really deep conversations about pretty much any subject from abuse to beauty tips and stuff. And her and I came up with the idea that we should share certain topics that could be problems in the world and share our opinions and just discuss those certain topics.
And Star, you've always given me a lot of wisdom, and I think a lot of people could definitely benefit from our conversations going more public.
Yes, I agree.
So, go ahead.
We both have experienced a lot of things besides just learn things in school. So I think with our experiences and our knowledge that we can definitely make a difference.
Definitely. I know. So so the thing we were talking about last night, if we want to go ahead and bring that up, was just basically a woman standing in society. And I don't know if you want to start going into that, or I can go ahead. But yeah, just kind of taking a stand as women, we feel is important. And also not enabling men anymore, which we believe a lot of women do. So, do you have any thoughts on that right now?
Yeah, the fact that the problem with our society is that how we enable each other, and I think that when it comes to respecting one another, we need to change our values and our views a little bit because society, I think, is getting a little out of hand, and women are coming more. I guess they're acting more like men and men are not being. They're like being less respectful, and we're acting like animals compared to actually human beings these days.
Do you want to, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay. It seems in today's society that people are more sex objects than are valued as a human being. That people feel they have the right to one another just because of their appearance or how they demean someone due to their appearance, or how women feel they have to compete with other women to get validation from a man's perspective.
Right.
Right.
And we're saying that that's only for women or for men too?
I think
Maybe a little bit of both.
it does go both ways because every reaction has a counter reaction. So,
Right.
Men are sexual beings and women are emotional beings. And, when we talk about the animal kingdom, we're only technically, scientifically are supposed to here just to breed like every other species. But luckily for us, we have high intelligence that we are here for more than that.
Mm-hmm. One thing I want, one thing I would, or are you finished? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm done.
Okay. One thing I was thinking too when you were, when you were mentioning objectification was, to me, when someone's objectifying someone, it makes me wonder what their identity and character is. And to me, someone who objectifies someone else would be, they'd have to have some type of characteristic of a user, an abuser, or flat out a narcissist or narcissistic type of personality. What do you think about that?
It depends on exactly like what we're aiming at here. Like, what do you like? Can you be more direct, like when it comes to judgment upon the characters or looks or?
Oh, me? Like, can I elaborate more on that?
Yeah.
So like, let's see. So basically, like, if I'm objectifying someone, to me, that feel like I'm using that person for personal gain somehow. Like they're no longer a human to me. And like you said, kind of like an animal almost. But even an animal, I mean, even an animal we should treat well. So it's almost like they're, we like whoever is being objectified is almost now subhuman. We're making them out to be something that we create in our mind, just like an object, I think.
Yeah, that is a big problem in society. Like people, even when it comes to friendships, like people, why do people are friends with people to see what they can gain from that person? Like, I think, why do we do the things we do? It's for our own personal gain.
Right.
Right. That's a whole different subject though. Like,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's really hard. That's a hard one. Um, oh wow. So yeah, I mean, people do things just for their own personal gain, but that's not like the whole entire society.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, I guess you could say we all, we all probably objectify somebody to a certain extent. We all probably use each other to a certain extent, but the question is like how much, how much. I mean, obviously, we have to have somebody we're kind of using in a way, but is that for love? Is that for a good cause or bad cause? But yeah, I think there's a continuum, maybe like how we use people, at least, or if it's in a healthy way, or how healthy, how unhealthy.
Well, our biological makeup shows that we need, like, humankind is meant to be with someone else. Like, we're not technically meant to be alone, even though people, that's a personal choice if someone wants to be with someone or not to be with someone. But there is that type of need. It's like, it's chemical, it's all chemical. So it's pretty much like, how much do we need? And do we obsess over those certain needs? Do we get out of hand with those certain needs? You know what I mean? And that's narcissism and,
Right.
yeah, and obsessions and.
So that would kind of be like the dividing line, is what you're saying, is like obsession versus I guess how do we define that line, that fine line between objectification versus like using someone for the right reasons or needing someone, is, I guess, would be the question.
I guess that's where it steps in from, where you get, well, like, I guess normal, like, it depends on if it's on the normal spectrum or if it's because of a behavior or an illness or, I mean, like, I guess to get to that point is like, what do we consider normal? like what is a normal behavior, what is a normal want, what's a normal need. And then I would say normal want need is, yeah, we can, lust, we can want love, we can, we obviously have physical attractions, but when it comes to the point of not respecting the other individual is where it becomes not normal anymore.
Right. For sure. So, yeah. So, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about tonight, or do we want to delve more into this topic? What do you think?
Yeah, we can delve this topic. So, like we were talking about how women enable men. Like you wrote a post that was very good. Like, do you want to talk about that post, or do you want to talk about like how do we enable men, like women stuff?
Yeah. How about let's talk about maybe the why. Like, why do we think? Why? I guess I can think of this too. Like, I wonder why we have enabled men. Like, all the reasons why.
Okay.
One of those being, I think, just kind of familiarity, being caught in the system, probably society teaching us, in some ways, like I know my mom's, placed a huge emphasis on physical appearance and appearing sexy to a man.
Yeah.
To keep them from cheating has been one of the main goals, I think.
Okay.
But if there's anything else you want to expand on with that, or if you have any other thoughts about that on the why.
Why men cheat? Or why do we compete with other women? Or why do we, huh?
Why we enable men, like,
okay.
How or why we enable the objectification.
Okay.
And compete with each other.
So, like, from centuries and centuries ago, women have always been like this object of beauty, and we've been taught that we've had to uphold this beauty. We have to be, perfect in a man's eye. Like, we have to have certain manners, certain values, look a certain way. And then, like, in the Cleopatra days, and when makeup came about, she wooed men because she was different. She used makeup, and it attracted men. And so, in today's society, we use women. We use women. Oh my gosh, hold up. Okay, we use makeup. We use makeup and certain types of clothing and jewelry and, like, all these cosmetics to impress a man. And we feel like if we're not impressing a man, that it lowers our standards of, like, who we are as a person. Like, men judge us if we don't have makeup on. Men judge us if we don't, shave our legs or something natural. We are judged just being natural. And then, people look at other people and they get that thing in their idea, well, like, she's hot or she's hot, or, I'm going to go after that one that's hotter. And they stop caring about, like, the characteristics of the person, instead of, like, they care about now more physical appearances.
So sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Right, like, basically kind of, like, dehumanizing us and not accounting for real life or reality. Two things when you were talking that I thought of was, I don't know if you heard about this. I think it was Meghan Markle was, like, one of the two like royalties in England, or Kate was right out of labor, like with her makeup done and all this stuff. And it was just kind of like, are you kidding? You have to maintain your appearance. You can't come out of having a child, looking disheveled, like, which is kind of crazy. But the other thing I thought too was, I know some cultural groups have had women actually as the head. I guess you could say matriarchal cultures. And do you feel that's even an objectification of women? Like, I know you know a lot about a lot of different topics. But like, in a way, do you think that might even still contribute to objectification, because it's still placing a lot of pressure on a woman in a way to have a matriarchal society where the woman is kind of the head. I think in Mexican culture, it's the females who are really valued, at least. I don't know about objectified, but do you think that placing high value on a woman can be objectifying, or like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, look at Queen Elizabeth and how she's not supposed to, like, wear certain outfits, and she has to, like, hold this certain image for people to like her, and she can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to lounge in my pajamas today. Like, she can't be real. She always has to be, like, perfect makeup, perfect hats, She has to walk perfectly. She has to have poise, and, her speeches have to be perfect. Like, she can't have any mess-ups, for society to like her. Even, they were talking about Kate, Princess Kate, and how she was doing certain things that were not okay, and Queen Elizabeth was getting mad at her, saying that's not very princess of you. You have to be, you have to do this. And she was like, oh, okay, I understand. Like, yeah, so yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and
Well, and I think too, like, okay, you just talking about that, it goes so much deeper than, okay, this is a coming out against men or from men. It's not just the men, like, like women, like you said, with Queen Elizabeth, like, women, like, there's different standards for a woman than a man. And we're kind of like cast out of the group if we're not conforming to those standards as a woman by women.
Right.
It's like they expect it too. It's not just an issue with men. It's just so deeply ingrained in us, or drilled into us.
Right. That we put expectations on how a woman should be, and we put expectations on how a man should be. And if a man and a woman are not those expectations, they are like looked down upon in society.
Right. For sure, 100%. Well, and it kind of makes me wonder too, and maybe this is a whole other conversation.
That's fine.
But what expectations should we have on a man, if any? Like, kind of questioning all this conditioning we've had that's a product of years and like decades, centuries of conditioning. Is anybody kind of coming out and questioning the status quo, like questioning all that we've been taught in our society for women or for men? Like, maybe we should just question everything, like, for what we should expect from men and women, and what, I guess the question would be, what of that is normal, what is not? And of course there's still some type of level of conformity for each culture that we would have to have, of course, but it kind of just, anything's possible,
Right. I think in this particular case, like, so many people are fighting for freedom in this country. Like, they just want to be free, and they're like, some people's opinion is saying, oh, this is okay, and another group of people are saying, no, this is not okay, So where does it come to, like, okay, where it needs to stop? Like, I personally don't think we should have women walking down the streets because naked, like people are going to have opinion on it, or exposing each other naked unless it's like an artistic manner or something, like there's always like rules on these things. However, like I think as women should be able to love and respect ourselves. And if we respected ourselves, we wouldn't just exploit ourselves so much. Like, I feel like women exploit ourselves for attention. We want attention.
Right.
We're looking for validations.
Right.
I mean, like, we are sexual beings, but really, what are we trying to say when we get naked or pose naked and stuff? I mean, other than like, unless we're doing it completely for ourselves or for art. But even for art, what are we doing it? We're doing it to get some type of attention, right? Some type of reaction. So, like I would say normal is like no matter what, like we need to respect women, we need to respect men need to learn how to respect us, not treat us like sex objects. Women shouldn't just throw themselves out there, because when we throw ourselves out there and we expose it all, then for women that have different opinions, values, and views, men are going to treat us like we're that other woman, because, oh, I can get it from that woman, so I don't need to bother with you. And then it kind of deems our character like, oh, we're less than because we won't show you our boobs, but another woman will show you her boobs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think we should have certain standards in society, like where we just don't expose ourselves so freely anymore.
Right.
Because I think women are acting more more sexual than they should be, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. For sure. From what I've heard too, and I don't know if this is anything, I've just from maybe one person, girls are being conditioned to kind of get sexier younger and wear makeup younger too.
Right. Because they feel that it's necessary to be accepted in society if they do so. And because at that age, they're hitting the teenage years and they want boyfriends and they want, all these things. But in reality, it's like, if you really are truly yourself and you're modest, someone's going to like you for you. You don't have to be like that. And and it's sad because society teaches these girls, because they even see it on TV. They see it in, even in makeup ads that, oh, no, to be beautiful, you have to wear makeup. Oh, to be attractive, you have to wear more, you have to show more for attract a man, or a man's not going to want you.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing too, a couple minutes back that I was thinking, I think one way to get that respect, or at least attract men to hear us out, would be obviously respecting men, and maybe in a way that they don't feel they've been respected before or considered. For instance, I was on a dating app, recently, and a guy in his profile said something about, I'm not going to send you nudes, but I'll send you my butt. And a photo of my butt. And I said, I had messaged him on that. And I said, would you really send a picture of your butt to complete strangers? And he was saying, yeah. And I was like, well, you should respect yourself more than that. So I feel like that's an instance of changing the status quo, like telling men, like, you shouldn't be objecting yourself either. To me, I guess that would be a good example of how to be respectful to a man, whereas most women wouldn't think twice about that.
I think on both sexes, men and women should exploit themselves so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think to earn respect, if you give it all freely and you're like, oh, look at me, and you expose your body's like a temple, you need to respect that body. Why do you want to just share your body with anybody? I mean, unless like you're into that type of, that's a whole nother topic. Like if you're into like just being a sexual person and that's all you care about is just being sexual, then we got those issues. But um, so I'm just saying, like, I think women should be more modest, and just like back in the old days, women were more modest, and men respected women back in those days more, and women even respected more men back in those days. You know what I mean? But then, like, society got so free and free of opinions and free, like even when porn started, like I think honestly that's when women and men start respecting each other, when porn started coming out, and men started watching porn, and you can watch it on TV now. Like you couldn't even watch a guy take off his shirt back in like the 50s. Like it'll be, oh my gosh. Now you can just see breast and whatever you want on the television, and they're like, oh, we can see it on TV. Well, I expect it from you. You know what I mean? Like I think in Korea, they don't exploit their women. Like it's not allowed. I mean, they do have certain movies where they kiss and they're intimate and stuff, but like they're not supposed to show so much. It's very abnormal if they do, but they don't like to exploit their women. They like to make their women look like they're worth something. They're higher value. You know what I mean? Even in Japan, it's not okay. I mean, even though people do it, but it's not okay to even kiss in public. Like it's frowned upon. Like they don't want you to be more modest. And I think that's what's wrong with America. We're crazy.
Yeah.
We don't have any morals or values anymore.
Structure, yeah. It's like a circus.
It is.
Like we're just running around trying to find our seat or something, and it's like everyone's just like crazy, and it's like, what do you mean trying to find your partner or something?
and it sucks. It's because like people that are sex craved and that don't have spouses and stuff, and are like feeling that need of wanting a really sexual release and stuff, do watch porn. I get the purpose of porn and stuff, but at the same time, it really does, like, it hurts society in a way. And even seeing it on TV, it hurts society. I think anything of too much, like, will cause issues.
Right.
And that could be anything.
Well, and Star, I think too, like, just like, you and I are kind of very, like, I guess more classical, I would say, in a way, like more old fashioned, I guess, just, like kind of counterculture in a lot of ways, I would say, because, we have a lot of values that society doesn't have anymore, I feel. Like I would say we're more genuine than a lot of people. But, thankfully, at least from my observations, it seems like, we've had to kind of resist this like flow that everyone else is doing to kind of like maintain our sense of self, because it's so easy to get lost in the flow of things where you just kind of lose yourself and your identity because you're going along with the crowd and what everyone else is doing, which is constantly changing.
Right.
And it takes someone really profound to even be able to do that, I think.
Right. I think
intelligent, if we don't mind us saying that. Go ahead.
I think we should set standards for ourselves more than seeking validations. And I think we seek love all in the wrong ways. I guess I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, I mean, it's just kind of hard because like there's certain things I support, and then like I can counteract with like I can be like, no, I shouldn't support that because of this and this and this. You know, there's always like, you know, positive to this and a negative to this. Like for example, if we took away porn, right, completely, what would happen? Like, would there be more rapists, or you know, I mean, like, would there be, you know, people being more sexual, or you know what I mean, on certain things like that? Or is there a way we can like? I think maybe if women, because porn is for professionals, like actual professionals. It's supposed to be like actors and actresses, and real life is not like porn at all. It's all staged video,
yeah.
unless you do like live cam and stuff, and half the time that's even staged. But what if society?
Sorry, what was that?
Even I said even live webcam half the time is already like staged. They already know what they're going to do. They're already, you know what I mean. But what if, like porn aside, what if society itself was stop being so easy with one another? Like stop being so sexual. Like women don't have to feel the need to have sex just to get a man's attention. And I mean, there is people out there that just want sex. I get it. You know, it's a hormone. You know, it's our chemicals. But I think more women should be not so carefree about it. You know, like me, back in the past, I used sexual experience to feel loved. Like I thought to be sexual meant that's the only way I could get love from a man. And I learned that's not true. Those were my younger years. And I actually started respecting myself and loving myself more, and I didn't do that anymore. Like, I'm very picky who I am connected with.
Right.
I don't go see Jim, John or Joe and be like, oh, I want to hook up with all of them. Like, no. I choose carefully. I'm not going to just share myself with anybody or exploit myself with anybody. I mean, I've even though I model and I do that in front of the camera. The other day I'm at the swimming pool and I'm just like, do I really have to wear a bikini? Is everyone going to see me in a bikini? I really don't want to exploit myself like this. It's different compared in front of a camera than like actual real life here. And I'm like all tiptoeing around the pool and like my towel and stuff. I'm like, do I really have to do this right now? And it's not because I'm insecure. It's because it's just like my morals. I'm just like, I really don't want people staring at me. Who gives them right to stare at me? That's how I feel.
You're so cute.
I mean, it's the truth. I'm like, really? Even children, like, even if there's kids around, like, I don't want a kid staring at me.
I know, I wouldn't want a kid staring at me either.
Yeah,
it's real weird.
I'm good.
That's funny.
I'm very modest in that sense. And the other day, I actually got asked by a guy. He goes, do you do videos? Do you do porn? Do you do live anything? Do you do pictures? And I said, no. I was like, no. And he was like, oh, well, I do this and this. I'm like, I don't care what you do. That's on you. Yeah. That's not what I do. And I'm like, what makes you think I do that? And he's like, oh, because you're a model. I'm like, oh, so I'm a model. Your assumption is that I exploit myself in that manner. Mm-hmm. It's really sad. Like, just because I model doesn't mean I should be disrespected. Right. I've been sent horrible pictures. Like, men have sent me explicit pictures of their what. And I'm like, I don't even know you. And you're sending me this? Like, I'm like, sweetheart. Like, oh, geez. Yeah. Like,
yeah. I definitely, or sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. I'm just like,
I definitely agree with you that there is definitely positives and negatives to everything. I mean, my stance, it would still be, I personally think that porn is, like, done. I do agree that at least at first, if not long term, because maybe I'm wrong, that yeah, men would definitely be really upset if porn just stopped, and I agree that that may be like a surge of rape even. Um, and but kind of like, for instance, now I think it's the LA area, they're cutting cigarette sales, which is crazy. That's going to make everyone really upset because now they have to drive far. But there's always going to be like a black market to stuff, and just because you cut something doesn't mean it's going to stop. So it's
Right.
just
Like if women, I could see, if it's harder to get, I could see more sex trafficking, certain things like that,
mm-hmm.
Which are horrible. But I definitely think that if all women would just put a stop to it, be like, you know what, no, you got to work for me, and I know there is some women out there, and then that's where you get the players, like, oh, I'm just gonna sweet talk her, I'll buy her some flowers, I'll take her to dinner, and then like,
True.
oh, I'm just gonna get in bed with her, like I'm just gonna, play her. Even women play men, and and they're like, oh, I got what I wanted, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Which is very sad too. That happens so much with us good girls. It's true. Or like they don't want to date you because, oh, I'm not going to give it up. Like, no, I want to get to know you. I actually really want to, see what kind of person you are, because I'm not going to be with someone just for, sexual experiences. I'm going to be with someone because I'm actually attracted to their character, I judge a person's character. If my character don't fit with their character, like, I don't want to be with them.
Right.
Don't even bother. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're like the most hottest guy in the world. I don't care what your pecker looks like. I mean, if your character sucks, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer you want to go. I have another thought though too, which was that so I remember a friend of mine from high school had said how, we were talking about metal music because he's into metal, and he mentioned something about the faster metal gets, like the less there is really to listen to the point where you just have like almost one sound. And music is like, well, anything really, like sight, anything is like the movement of things. Like if you just stare at the wall for like more than a few seconds, it's gonna like there's nothing to look at. Like you're constantly moving around, scanning different colors, like, and the contrast of things is what gives them depth. But it kind of made me think about how now with the whole objectification thing, it's like everything's getting so much more minimal. We used to have phone calls, and now it's down to texting, which is fine, which works, and we like it. But it's so much less of it's like a piece, like less of a phone call because you're not hearing the person's voice. But then with like Tinder, it's just now seen as like a hookup thing. And then there's that new, I think it's called Kick app, where, well, it's not new, but where you don't have to give someone your phone number, but it's just like deducing everything down to like such quick little things. Now there's like such thing as ghosting on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat, where, if a guy cuts you off or you cut him off, whatever, you can still look at their story. Or guys are, it's a little more confusing because they're like, oh, let me like your post, let me comment on your post, but have you messaged me, have you called me? So it's like it's just getting down to like the roots of like just the bare minimum of like any human interaction at all. Kind of like the whole thing with the music, it's like just getting, before you know it, there's going to be like no movement at all, and like everyone's just going to be kind of zombies and no life to them, and just, like video games ruling the planet, and just like, no human interaction whatsoever. But yeah.
Yeah, so we are basically relying on too much technology. We are speed throwing everything. We don't want to take the time to actually learn something. So like you said, like Kick, and you talked about like the dating app. I don't remember which one you said, but
any one of them.
Okay, well, for like, you said Tinder and stuff. How you swipe left or swipe right, and it's all based on just looks, and like you're not actually really getting to know the person. You're like, oh, this person's like, he has a beard, I don't like him, or this person, doesn't have big enough boobs, I don't like her. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to speed through life, like simply. We're trying to simplify everything. And things should not be simplified. How are we going to learn if things are simplified? How are we actually going to make good connections if things are simplified? I believe we rely on technology so much instead of like writing a letter. We don't even write letters to our friends anymore. Like I remember back in high school, I'd get all excited and I would send a letter to like my family and stuff. Now it's just like, oh, I'm just going to send you a text message. Hi, like we really get too caught up in our own world. We don't really we don't really socialize anymore. And I mean, if we do socialize, it's just like, for an instant, like people tend to want to just date on Facebook because, it's easy to go on my computer. This person's cute, I'm just going to talk to this person, and I'll just meet up with this person instead of actually going out and maybe finding a person in a particular activity that you like doing. Or creating friendships in the right way. Instead, we're relying on like devices and the internet to find our soulmate or our friendships or our business connections, anything,
Definitely.
It's getting too much. We're becoming robotic-like.
Right.
Sure.
I'll have to send you a letter.
You do send me letters. You send me cards and everything. You're so sweet.
But not that many.
But you do. It's more than anyone ever has. Like, my mom doesn't even do that, okay?
Aw.
So, yeah. You're a sweet person. You're not in the social norms.
Thank you. Well, so are you.
You're welcome. You're one of a kind.
Well, you too.
Well, thank you. I try.
So, do we want to keep talking, or do we want to close out our call, or how are you feeling?
It's up to you. I mean, you think we had a good discussion on? We talked about a lot of things tonight, just not one particular subject.
For sure. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, so two things that I thought of. So when you were saying how we speed through life, did you ever watch that movie Click with Adam Sandler?
Yes.
That was really sad.
It is.
And it was kind of prophetic if you think about it, kind of like the 1984 book and all that kind of stuff.
By George Orwell?
I think so.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Kind of. I didn't read that one. I read a different one in high school, but I think I know like kind of the concept. But it's just kind of a warning to us that speed movie, it's like how we are now. Like you said, we want to just speed through life. Like, in the grocery store, everyone's on their phones, myself included. But it's just we're all trying to like you said, speed through life, which makes sense on a thinking level. I mean, it just makes sense, but does it really if we're sacrificing human relationships? There's this movie too that I'll have to look up that I had come across on Netflix a while back with Jared Leto, where he's like the last living person and he's like 120 or something in the movie, and then everyone else has turned themselves into like zombies or something, but it's not zombies. They're like, immortals.
Okay.
And it looked really creepy. It really creeped me out a lot. And I didn't want to get too much into it.
Okay.
Because I started watching it and I was like, this is really creepy. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, you know, also if that's the route we're going. Because everyone else had taken pride, like his counselor, I think he was saying a therapist or something, or whatever, an interviewer, and the guy it was like covered in tattoos and really kind of wacko looking. But anyway, it just kind of reminded me of that. Just the whole technology thing can be really scary at times if we really think about it. Like if I watched a movie of myself, like now that I think about it, on fast forward, and I saw myself on the phone and how much time I waste on the phone, like what am I doing that whole time? You know, it'd probably freak me out.
Right. Yeah, me too. Like, I'm on my phone a lot as well. And I hold like my whole life pretty much is in my phone, my bank account, like my social life, um,
Mhm.
everything is in like the palm of my hands.
Mhm.
And it's kind of scary to think about it. And
Definitely.
I I kind of miss like I kind of miss the antenna phones. I miss I just because like it seemed like people just put more effort into talking with each other when we didn't have like cellular devices. Like we
Mhm.
actually did more things like hung out with people and stuff. Like now that I'm older, I only hang out with certain people. Like I only talk to you mostly you and my spouse, and
Mhm.
like a couple other people in my life. Other than that, like I just talk to people on social media. Like I don't even really try to be like, oh, let's go to coffee, let's just
Mhm.
actually do something. And it's just like, I'm just so busy. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, I'll just talk to him on Facebook later. Or I'll just talk to him, I'll just give him a call or text message. Everything will
Mhm.
be fine. But it's like, am I really being fair to myself? Like, I'm so
Mhm.
busy with work, school, taking care of my family and stuff. Like, I don't really give myself that interaction really anymore.
Mhm.
And then it causes other issues. Like, I think we get, illnesses and, disorders due to it that we're not really social interacting.
Probably, yeah, definitely. I know they have like classes now for kids that are like socialization classes
Right.
because kids don't know how to socialize anymore,
Yeah, and it's sad.
which is
It's,
sad.
it is sad. It's just like, I see kids, like, even these days, like, go in their little corner, like, they have, like, this little group hangout at the school, like, their cliques, and they'll be on their phone. They're not really talking to each other. And then I've seen at times, like, I've been in the living room with another friend, and they're actually sending me text messages instead of actually talking to me. Like, why are you texting me? Just talk to me. I'm right here. But it's because they're so busy on their phone with other things, like, they don't really want to like stop the interaction with their phone. It's really hard to put down your phone now
Mhm.
and actually just sit there and conversate without looking at your phone. Oh, did someone text me? Did someone
Right.
call me? Oh, did I forgot to do something? No,
Mhm.
oh, let me check my calendar real fast. Just very
Yeah.
hard to put the device down.
Right. Definitely. It's yeah. One thing I was thinking of is, kind of like with the porn, it is because the phone can be a positive or a negative. Like
Right.
it's kind of an enabler. I know, or I guess what I wonder is, I was thinking about this the other week. If I didn't ever have the internet, would I take more of a chance and take more opportunity to actually connect with people? Like, quite a few of my exes, I was like, oh, he looks cute, at work or whatever, wherever it was. Let me go message him on MySpace or Facebook.
Right.
And, that's how we started building a connection because I was too shy to talk to them in person. But what if I
Right.
didn't have that option? I guess I wonder, would I be more social? Would I have to force myself to be more social if I didn't have the option of the internet? Like, yeah, it can be a help to help connect with people, but what cost? Like, am I still allowing myself to have actual connections? Like, if I didn't have my phone for a week, would I go out more? Would I go to more places, try more things? So I think it can be a good thing and a bad thing. I know it's just how we use it, for sure.
Right. I like to bring up the point you said, you were talking to your coworker, but you didn't feel comfortable not to talk to your coworker, so you added them on social media. Okay, so I've seen in a lot of cases that people don't feel comfortable interacting with someone in person, that they feel safe to interact with someone behind a screen. Like it's like a protection to them, like it's like a bubble. And I've noticed that people seem to come more out of their bubble when they're behind a screen, and sometimes they exploit themselves way too much, and then their excuse is, oh, it's just social media. And it's like, whoa, no, it's not just social media. You're actually legitimately telling a person this certain things or acting this manner towards a certain person, like you're being too much. And
Right.
they don't think like, oh, I'm whatever. They're like, oh, whatever, I don't care. But then it's like, would you really do that in real life? Like, would you really do that to a person like right in front of you? Like, would you really whip out your penis and show your like person standing right in front of you? No, you wouldn't. Unless you would be like, whoa, hello. But on social media, it's like, oh, it's okay. Or like, just because you see a pretty girl, you're hitting on her and then like, oh, you look good, you're fine, and liking all her stuff. And just our character changes when it comes to like behind the screen. It's like all of our like, even our negatives come out, like things that we shouldn't be doing, I guess. Like, and I say things that we shouldn't be doing, not based on other people's judgments, but based on our own judgments. Like, would we really be doing that if we were behind the screen?
Right. That makes me, right. That makes me kind of think about that too, because I know I'm definitely way too comfortable because not that many people, like and comment my stuff. So I just kind of think, oh, let me post whatever, and then, Christmas dinner, it's like they'll ask about a post or something. Finally, my family has, and it's like, oh, this is awkward. Why are you bringing up social media stuff? But like you said, like, like we do have to remember that what we put out there is public and everyone can see it. And once you post something, it's kind of just there for life. Like, there's no going back, and that's something to consider. Right. So I like you that you're bringing that up. And, I know I definitely need to be more thoughtful and careful.
Yeah.
With this for sure.
More aware, like, definitely bring your character behind screen as you would in real life. Like, I mean, it's okay to be open and feel like you can let things out. Like sometimes even writing, like we can let more out than we can do in person, because, we limit ourselves. But like, if there's nothing wrong with doing that. But like, I say when it comes to like sexual things, like it's about respect. You should respect a person, even if it's in person or behind a screen. You should not be so, you should not exploit yourself.
Right.
You should still have like some type of morals and manners. Like there's people I see on social media at times, and they just are like acting crazed. Like they'll just say like these horrible things and send death threats and stuff, and they think it's nothing because it's social media. Like, oh, it's not real life, and then they get actual in trouble for it. It's like, no, it's real life. Like, what are you saying? Like, yeah, you're being crazy.
Yeah.
Like, people do not have filters these days.
So do we want to go ahead and wrap it up? I think we're at 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then one thing too that that I wanted to mention was if anyone has any Q&A questions and that you would like answered, we can go ahead and choose some of those to discuss. So you can email us. My email is valpsychtalk@gmail.com. And how else can they contact us, Star?
we will be making a Facebook webpage for our Psych Talk, or we'll also be making a YouTube channel due to our connection where we're not able to actual like video live record. So this video was our first video, so we kind of wanted to make it longer than all of our other videos. But I think we had a good discussion tonight.
Definitely.
Yeah. We're just all of our like discussions are upon our views and our opinions. You know, we're very open-minded. So we have no problem talking about subjects that are probably hard to talk about with other people and stuff, or we're all trying to just be positive here.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, it's been great talking with you, and it's always valuable and beneficial. So thank you for our first podcast tonight, Star.
Yes, thank you, Val.
Thanks for doing all your tech stuff.
No problem.
Setting us up here.
Yes.
With all the work.
Yes. Well, you have a good night, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.